Okay, now what I'm going to do is show you how to use this model to create content, build relationships, and generate leads. When you create content, which can be video, writings, pictures, PDFs, books, ebooks, and so on, you want to post it all on your blog, which is the central hub of your social media engagement model. Now, I should say that for the folks who do this without any thought to ultimately generating earnings from their social media activities, it does become very easy to have much of this fall into comments about what somebody ate for lunch today, which park they're walking their dog in, or thoughts about the general nature of things. Now, I don't want to begrudge that because Lord knows many of the people whose blogs I subscribe to are full of that kind of information. I like it actually because it's personable and it's interesting, so I think you need that mix in there. But when at least part of your motivation is for business opportunity and lead generation, then you have to post other content that's relevant for generating opportunities for your visitors to opt in to your marketing funnel. So one way to think about these outposts is to view them as your content syndication partners. What this means is that this is your network of people with whom you've developed relationships with. This could be folks on Twitter or on Facebook or maybe LinkedIn and so on. This is your content syndication network. So when you create content on your blog, you can then send it to your content syndication partners, and if they like it, and if they like you, they can then choose to syndicate it themselves as well, meaning they will in turn share it with people in their networks. Now, there's a lot in what I said just now. There's a point about choice. There's also another point about likability, as well as the implied points about trust, respect, and transparency. Syndication is a powerful channel for spreading the word about you, your services, and your values, your interests, and your passions. But you can't force people to want to syndicate your content. You have to reciprocate. Not only must you be likable and interesting, but you also have to be interested in the people that you connect with. And therein lies some work. I mean, God forbid that you actually have to express interest in people, right? And that's why, if you remember from lesson number 1, coming from the philosophy of relationship building has to be the core foundation of your engagement strategy. Without that grounding, the people that you connect with aren't going to like you, they're not going to trust you, nor will they respect you enough to want to syndicate your information. Now, that said, syndication is a powerful thing. It's through that channel that your content gets spread through many other social networks. And if you're creating or sharing content in alignment with your own values, your own interests, and your passions, then when other people find that information, they'll know and they'll come back to your blog to find out more about the person who produces that content. The grease that skids the wheels of all these reciprocating gears is that as more people link back to you and to me, then Google and other search engines will eventually take notice. In all of that is the concept of search engine optimization, or also known as SEO, which is a fancy term for saying that these search engines will eventually rank your content more highly with the increased number of links in to your blog site. So that when people use these search engines to search for terms related to the stuff that you create content about, then there's an increasingly better chance that your web or your blog site will be listed closer to the #1 spot on the search results page. Now, I'm far from being the definitive expert in search engine optimization. For that, I'll defer to my friend Eric Stegeman, who I told you about in video number 1, who has built and sold businesses on the back of search engine optimized websites. As a matter of fact, Eric was kind enough to let me do a 2-part series with him about search engine optimization. And I gotta say, I thought I knew a lot, but he took me to school. In one of the links I'll provide as a resource on this video page, I'll make sure to include some information about how you can get a hold of Eric's interview. The guy knows a lot, and he explains SEO in a very easy to understand and very stepwise fashion that makes it easy to follow. You'll do well to check it out. Okay, now to summarize. You create content on your blog. Take a look at Eric Stegeman's video about some simple strategies to create information in a way that makes your content favored by these search engines. Then you share your content with your syndication partners out in the outposts of your hubs and spokes model. And then let them decide if it's valuable and useful enough to share it with others in their networks. But to increase your chances of being syndicated by your partners, you have to earn their respect. You do this by being trustworthy, interesting by way of the content you create, as well as interested in the lives and the content of the people that you build relationships with. To help you be informed about conversations that happen on the web that should be worthy of your interest and your attention, you need to create listening posts, which are free, automated online tools that will let you know when conversations happen that contain keywords and terms about things that correlate to your values, your interests, and your passions. Now, as far as this lesson on hubs and spokes and syndication goes, it is itself at risk of being what I call an IBU, an interesting but useless set of activities that earns you no business opportunities unless you have a way of capturing the opportunity when your visitors decide that they're ready to learn more about your services. That's a piece about the marketing funnel that I was alluding to earlier. And there's a role for that in social media, but for that we need to wait for a later video in this series about when we talk about the marketing funnel. If you do nothing else and don't take time to receive the rest of the lessons in this series, you now have enough information with what I've given you in just the last 2 videos that will begin increasing your ability to grow interest in your content and even increase your lead generation activities. Okay, so that's it for today. Again, if you found value in this series, I hope you'll please tell your friends, and I will see you again in the next lesson.